we've got some interesting development also coming to you. There's a government approach to legalizing the Okada business, and that is also another story we are focused on this afternoon. So very soon in Ghana, persons who wish to operate commercial motorcycles or tricycles, commonly known as Okada, will have to abide by a new regulation. They must, among other things, be members of a recognized transport union or employed by a licensed commercial motorcycle company. This requirement, along with a minimum rider's age of 25, is part of a new legislative instrument being drafted to amend the Road Traffic Regulation 2012 LI 2180. Transport Minister Joseph Bukari Nipe announced the new measure during a national stakeholders consultation in Accra on Monday. He added that the revised LI will introduce a new licensing system to strengthen oversight and ensure operators meet strict competence standards. And remember, there's been a lot of talk around Okada. This was a campaign promise by the NDC government before both the 2016 election, the 2020 election, and of course the 2024 election. The government is power, and they are making do. They are bringing some life to that promise. Now, a former vice chancellor of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology has also been talking about this. He's also a transport consultant. Professor Kwesiku Afadakwa is urging the country to proceed with caution in legalizing the Okada operations.
Got you on our hands. I'm happy you mentioned the Northern Region Public Infrastructure Project.
Right.
Within a radius of about 20 kilometers out of Tamale, we did this project. And at the time, what we saw was that access was very important. Somebody to get into town, somebody to get into the hospital, they need to rush a pregnant woman in labor to the hospital and so on. And when you get into those circumstances, anything goes.
Right.
And so what we did was to construct very, very simple routes. And then they started using bicycle trailers and so on and so on. We saw that the impact was substantial.
So the question this afternoon, how will this impact safety on our roads? Joining me on Zoom is the Chief Executive Officer of the National Road Safety Authority, Abraham Amaleba. Also joining is Hafiz Tahiru, President of the Okada Riders Association. First, let me start with you, Council. So this draft LI that the Minister speaks of, I am certain that you have more information on it. An Okada rider must belong to an association. That rider must be 25 years and above. There's also the strict enforcement of the wearing of helmet, plus other things. Are these what we need to bring some sanity in this area because of the danger associated with the business of Okada?
So let me start by greeting your viewers. This is part of measures put in place to ensure safety of Okada riders as well as safety of those who ply our roads. We are of the view that currently, because Okada is outlawed, it's difficult to regulate the institution or the operations of Okada. As a result, we have decided that if it is legalized, then institutions such as ours, National Road Safety Authority, DVLA, the police, and other road agencies will now freely operate or freely regulate their activities. So the first step is to take away the law that says that Okada is illegal, and then introduce a provision that makes it legal. Then we have 3 regulatory agencies. We have the licensing authority, which is the DVLA. Then we have the regulatory authority, which is the National Road Safety, and then we have the enforcement authority, which is the police. When their activities are made legal, then these three agencies can now directly deal with the Okada rider, and then you can begin to see sanity on our roads. Most people don't know why Okada riders jump traffic. They don't know. You hear people complain that Okada riders jump traffic because it is illegal. And because they were running away from the police. Because if they stop at the traffic light, the police can easily arrest them and take their motors away from them. That was the reason why Okada riders never stopped, and it became a subculture till today. But if they are legal, then there's no basis upon which they will be jumping traffic. Currently, they are jumping traffic because they are running away from the police arrest. And so people should get it right. The jumping of traffic lights will now be a thing of the past.
I'm curious to know, though. I mean, even in the absence of a law, they're already operating. Whatever we are asking them to do in the draft legislation, some are already doing it, even though they are not unionized. They don't operate from a specific places. They are virtually everywhere across the country. How certain are you, Council, that if this law is in place, it will help tune their mind to the fact that they have to operate more responsibly?
That is where sensitization comes in. And that is where we will need to inculcate in them as an attitude of respecting road traffic regulations. So currently, apart from tweaking the law, there's also a stakeholder engagement that is happening now. I think one was done yesterday, that's what you saw.
Right.
There'll be another one. We want to have this stakeholder engagement across the country. So the culture that you see, the Okada rider misbehaving, not obeying road traffic regulation and signs, will no longer be the practice. What you will be seeing is a refined Okada rider who is ready and prepared to obey the traffic regulations. Because after we do all these things, if we still have recalcitrant Okada riders, then the police would enforce the law by arresting them. And when that happens, your union cannot come to your aid. Your company will not come to your aid. And I'm happy you are going to speak to one of the executives of the Okada Riders Association. We have indicated to them that failure to join a union would result in you not being given the opportunity to ride the Okada or do commercial business with the motorbike. So this thing is well structured to the extent that the first stage of discipline is what is called self-regulation. This self-regulation is going to be done by the unions. The unions themselves would educate their members. The unions themselves would speak to their members before even the state institutions such as Road Safety Authority and then the DVLA.
But the airline also makes reference to periodic repairs or maintenance of the motorbike, and I wonder how that's going to be enforceable, because already we have vehicles on our roads, they have roadworthy certificate, but a layman can tell that this vehicle has no business being applying on our roads, more especially some of the commercial vehicles we see. And now the obligation will be on the Okada rider to maintain the motorcycle that the person is using. On paper, it looks fine and exciting, but in reality, how are we going to enforce this?
Well, this is enforced by ensuring that when they come to renew their roadworthy certificate. Inspections are conducted. Apart from that, we are going to also assign road safety officers to the various unions as relationship officers. So, unlike the vehicles where they will have to come to the DVLA before you can identify the mistake or what is wrong with the vehicle, in this one, we would assign officers to the various unions and companies, and those people will be responsible for ensuring that they maintain their motors before they even go to the DVLA for registration.
All right. My final issue is that the 100 penalty units as punishment for those who may violate this LI if it is finally passed by Parliament. You think it's punitive enough?
Well, a penalty unit is 12 cities. I don't know whether it will be revised. And so if you do your mathematics, and I don't know what figure you have, I'm not a mathematician, but it is to deter Okada riders from engaging in acts that are unacceptable on our roads. It is not to destroy. We are not imposing this to destroy the commercial venture that they are engaging. It is to deter them from engaging in acts that we would call against the traffic regulations. But if need be, and we think that we need to increase the scale, we will do so. But for now, this is a good starting point. Let's move on and see what the outcome will look like.
All right. And are you certain that this legalization, will take place before the end of the year? Are there timelines that you are working with?
We are actually thinking that when Parliament resumes, this bill will be before Parliament. It takes 21 working days. And when it passes, surely it will be within the year. And I can assure you that we will have a repeal of the law within this year. And that will make Okada legal.
Okay. Thank you so much. Mr. Abraham Amaleba is the Chief Executive Officer of the National Road Safety Authority, and we've been talking about government's proposed LI that will legalize operations of Okada or motorcycle for commercial purposes. And he's certain that when Parliament is back, the LI will be placed before the House. If it is not challenged and matures after 21 days, it will now give legal mandate behind the operations of Okada, and then DVLA can start, registering them and giving them all the necessary papers for them to conduct their business legally. This is the policy on Joy. Now, let me.